You're such a
We're recording, dude. Come on. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, can I start it?
1, 2, 3, go.
Barnabbe Prodcast.
Hello and welcome back to Barnabbe Productions. Tuning in today, we have Szeki and Barna coming in from abroad. How are you today, Barna? No, just kidding.
Are we going to have this commentary all the time?
We need to have our radio voices this whole time. And
Coffee.
Egészségedre.
Coffee.
Egészségedre.
Egészségetekre.
Egészségedre.
Unkra.
Wow. I didn't know that we have a Viking here. So,
Oh man.
how should we start it?
Y'all ready?
I am.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the intro?
Should I do the introduction?
You should do the introduction.
Barna should do
Yes.
the introduction. Who are we, man? Tell the people.
We are Barnabbe
Family.
Productions, and this is.
Oh shoot.
And
So
this
you just screwed up the podcast in less than 10 seconds. Thank you.
It's gonna be great.
Cut.
We're doing good, guys.
Okay, so who are we?
Hello, guys. You are listening to Barnabbe Productions today, and this is the Barnabbe Prodcast. It still feels so wrong, by the way.
I already
Oh,
forgot
man.
about it. Yeah, Barnabbe Podcast, man. Who came up with
I mean,
this
it's
idea?
in the intro. It's in the intro, man. So it's Barnabbe
Oh, man.
Prodcast, not podcast, Prodcast, because it's
Yeah.
productions.
I know.
Because
it's
you know
my
how I
idea.
love to
Thank
just,
you for
like-
the
I
explanation.
straight up thought you guys were just pronouncing the word wrong. And I was like, do I correct them? Do I not? Like, what? There's no R in podcast.
Barnabbe Podcast.
Barnabbe Prodcast.
I think it's
Broadcast.
Cool. You should say it's cool because it was my idea. You have no other option. So.
So you guys are
whatever.
listening to Barnabbe Productions, and this is our podcast we started up. You can hear that in the intro. And today we are going to talk about some nuggets about live gigging and how all that works out in COVID. We've been talking about last time on our Facebook Live when we had it, but it's kind of funny because New Year started and not much changed. So just as so when the year started, it didn't really feel like that it was a new year because everything was just still closed. So we didn't have this
Oh, yeah.
sensation of like,
It
wow,
started
new
like
year.
how
New-
we left it. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly,
Actually,
so-
we made a podcast about it in Hungarian with Barna. So and it's just funny that the topic is still alive because the situation is the same. That
Yeah, and it was almost a year
musicians-
now.
Musicians have to come up with alternatives to make a livelihood out of their music, and it's just harder day by day. So yeah,
But I roped you guys into doing it in English this time.
yeah, because we have a foreigner
Yay!
here.
I'm Colin, by the way.
They are switched. So Barna went to the States.
Yeah.
Colin came to Hungary. So
Yeah.
not a good trade, but well enough. No,
Ow!
I love you, man.
Sure. You've already given me so much crap. Like, I don't know anything about the NBA, so I can't help you with that. It's just like, that's all I want right now is to have my staple American to talk about the NBA, and you're just giving me nothing.
If you want friendship, you should watch the playoffs. That's
Oh
it.
man.
It's cheap.
Anyways,
Cheap friendship.
concerts in 2021. Oh man.
Yeah. So actually,
Yeah, so
Take it away,
Really?
Barna.
just do it.
sorry. So I'm actually not sure how much changed since last year. I mean, I just actually looked at the Billboard, and I saw that there's a bunch of concerts supposedly coming up that are actually not online concerts, but like normal concerts.
Really?
But I'm not sure how much of that's going to happen because even just within the states, regulations are so different. Like, for example, right now we are in the Portland area, Oregon, and it's just like everything is locked down. There's no chance that there will be any live concerts here at this moment because they are really strict about it here, and they are convinced that there's no way we should do that. But then you go down to the south, and they're taking it more lightly. I'm not saying like they still have like regulations and stuff, but it's really not as strict. For example, we got the awesome chance to go down to the Florida Keys, and there they had like live gigs in the bars and pubs and stuff. So it's like, I mean, it was really funny because they put these like plexiglass stuff in front of the musicians, or they put them in like a different room and just like live stream them.
No stage diving now. Like you're all just standing there, they're like trying to stage dive, and they're just hit the plexi. You're just like, oh!
Yeah, nobody surfing.
Have you guys seen the photo where they're doing the live shows and everyone's in their own like plastic hamster bubble?
Oh yeah, that's so
weird.
And doesn't look comfy at all. So.
No. Oh my gosh.
And to
just
me the
recycling the air.
To me the reason why that was so weird, I follow this YouTuber guy called Adam Neely. He's an amazing jazz player, and he's just educating people about music and what's going on in live music scene, and just like all around music, anything that's music. And he actually had a live gig last year in the fall. I don't know exactly when, but he's from New York, so regulations are pretty strict there. And how they did it is that basically audience had to be separated, sitting in different positions that are like socially distanced. And then the musicians were like pretty much the ones that don't have to use their mouth, they were in masks. The ones that they had to use their mouth, they were separated. The ones who didn't have to use, they just wore masks and stuff. But it was just so weird because, especially with jazz music and that sort of music where that kind of connection on the stage is just so important. It must be super bizarre to have to do that.
What's actually interesting about it? That jazz concerts is like, with seats, it's really okay. It's happening like all the time, even before COVID, and it works with jazz music. But if you think other way about this hamster bubble stuff, I think it shouldn't work with jazz. But can you imagine a mosh pit in a rock concert with these bubbles? Like in some cases, it could be fun. Actually, it can give some value to the to the experience. But so yeah, it's just interesting. Like, you should choose an alternative which fits more to the genre you have or you do. So
if you think about it, every drummer who was using a drum shield years in advance of 2020 was already living in 2020 because they had the whole plexiglass like drum shield already set up. Like that's
but I feel like that's more of a thing in like church environment. I mean, I never seen a jazz drummer sitting in a booth. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
No, not a jazz drummer.
They have such control and stuff that it's just
that disconnect. So. That disconnect on the stage, that just from a musician's standpoint is gonna be huge. Like I haven't played a show yet where you have those barriers in between you, but I think I would really struggle to say yes to that show. Like there is this element of just absolutely loving to play music and wanting to just do it because that's what I love. But then there's also this element of I love playing music because I love the community. I love the aspect of playing music with other musicians and that connection that you have with them. And you really lose that in this time when you have these restrictions, these things that are preventing you. And so it's really interesting to think about it just from multiple perspectives of not only the musician, or not only the concert goer, the people that are attending the concert and having to like socially distance, or like I saw that one photograph where they're all in these little sectioned off table booth things and they're socially distanced and stuff like that, so you can still have your group together. So it's not only them who are losing out on this community aspect, this personal connection at a live show, but it's the musicians. And I think oftentimes it's overlooked by the concert goers, like that chemistry that's happening with the musicians, with everyone in the band, and how that plays such a vital role in getting that final result. Like the whole thought of them vibing off of each other is totally true, especially in a genre like jazz or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And it's just really bizarre and interesting to see that. So anyway, that's been going on since last year. So the question is more like, when will it end? Will it ever end? Vaccine is going out. When will it go out to everyone? Will everyone take it? If the majority takes it, then, like there are just so many questions about particularly live music, and when will things open up again and all that stuff, especially since like new variants are coming in of COVID. And then is the vaccine good against all coronaviruses, or only for the specific ones that are variants or whatever? So there's just so many questions to this whole thing. Is that it's because of it, it's really safe to assume that it could be another year or two before everything goes back to normal, or even more. Like heck, I mean, this is sad, but it's absolutely a possibility.
It's important to also think of and note that even with the vaccine coming out and the potential of things getting back to normal, live music isn't going to be getting back to normal anytime soon, because you have all of these huge, like specifically the huge arena shows that are planned out years in advance. You can be working around the clock, but you can't, even if you're working around the clock, you can't make up for losing years.
I think it's like really sharply or two-sided, because like with tourism, there's a really big chance that people are going to be afraid of traveling to foreign countries after the vaccines for a bit. Or on the other hand, it's totally possible that there will be, I don't know, a huge shock of traveling, because everything restarts. So it's, I don't know. The other problem is, or the bigger problem is, I think it's festivals, not arena concerts, because festivals so much depend on tourists and foreigners. For example, Hungarian festival Sziget, I think 60% of people there is not even Hungarian. So, and it's one of the biggest European festivals.
But I was also reading this article today, just at least for the time being, when things do open back up, what they're planning and predicting is that, I think it said something to the effect of, you'll only be allowed roughly 25% capacity from the beginning. You can work your way up, but it's starting at 25%. But this article was pointing out that for a lot of these festivals, for a lot of these event centers, like wherever you're having these shows, even if you're at 25% capacity, that's still not enough to break even. Like you are losing money on the show.
Yeah, because with that limit, you cannot have popular artists, because you cannot pay them. There's no income. You cannot have on Sziget 300 again, because you don't have the income for it. But on the other hand, I use other hand so much time, but I think it's natural, but it's so funny that very well-known musicians have really good alternatives to have concerts. Like, I know it happened like 9 or 10 months ago that Travis Scott released his new album, and released it with sicko mode on Fortnite. It's a game, online game.
Yeah. Was that the album release, or was it just a show?
Yeah, I think he released his album with this song.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so too. Like that's how I remember as well.
Nuts.
Yeah, and they have this opportunity. Even Marshmello, Steve Aoki had Fortnite concerts, or there are I don't know how many really popular artists who making paid live online concerts. But I don't know if Colin start to do it, like he doesn't have any chance, and not because he's not good, but he don't have the fan base to do that.
No, and I think that's one of the tricks now. like it's so hard to build up that fan base and build up that connection when you can't have that physical connection with an audience. I mean, it's completely plausible. It's not implausible at all with the rise of, things like TikTok and just social media in general. You can really have a connection, but it still feels like you're missing out on a lot.
Yeah, but I think that's always more of a thing with local stuff, especially when you're a small musician most of the time. Of course, depending on what type of career path you choose, because there are musicians that are starting out as recording artists, making their money as recording artists, and once they are big, they start to tour. Like, there are people like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Then there are like this massive amount of musicians, a lot of musicians, and that's why COVID was like this massive deal. Like, the guys that were making bank from being recording artists, they really weren't hit that hard. Like, the people that they actually were benefited a whole lot because people started to stream music even more. So the people that were hit really hard is the big musicians that were making the majority of their money from the live gigs, because it's a ridiculous amount of money in that, or the small artists that are like week to week making enough money. For example, like like Danny Wonder, he was making his like a pretty decent salary from going to bars and giving gigs, and now that was just all like ended because there are no bars at all. So he had to shift, and I think this is one of the major themes that will have to happen in like continuously. How you say that?
Continuously.
Continuously. Yeah, thank you. So that will have to happen continuously, where musicians are figuring out new ways of earning their money. And that's just always been true. Like, when CD sales shifted to digital streaming, a lot of people were super upset by that, but it just happened anyway. And something really similar, even though it's not to like a technological advance or anything, but due to an illness or anything, but things are shifting in the industry, and you can be either upset about it, or you can decide to do what you can to make your living. Just like people that are actually consistently keeping up their fan base and stuff, they have to adjust depending on it. Hi
Abby.
Hey Abby. Abby, I have time till like 8, right? 8:30. Okay, 8:30.
You should
Even more time.
I would say 8:15.
Even more time. So yeah, I guess like 8:15 or 8:20 I have to finish. But yeah,
I think that's something that's often overlooked, and it becomes the downfall of a lot of musicians wanting to pursue a career in music, is that they don't take into account the amount of adaptability you need to have, the amount of flexibility you need to have, and like I've seen it often rationalized as like, I'm giving up, I'm like surrendering too much, and I'm not a purist anymore if I change along with the industry, which, I mean, there's a certain extent to which I understand them, but also there's a certain extent of which I feel like you kind of have to pay to play, like you need to pick something at the heart of your music. Like, what are you going to be talking about? Why are you making music in the beginning? And like, to begin with, and that's the thing that you don't change. That's the thing that you hold fast to, because everything else, like, you're holding on to this pole and everything else is zooming past you. But if you don't hold on to that one thing right at the get-go, then you're just going to end up losing it, because the industry is going to continue changing whether you follow it or not.
That's funny why TikTok is like also a bit overlooked in Europe. In the States, it's works much better, that musicians have this idea already that there's a huge chance that they can become bigger on TikTok, because I don't know how exactly TikTok algorithm works, but it's much more like a lottery. It's not like Instagram or Facebook, because on Instagram and Facebook it depends on your followings. Just for I don't know. So I wanted to check it, and I made my own TikTok. I have like 4 or 5 videos. I'm not sure. And do you know what's funny? I had around maybe 8 followers, and that's how you can easily check on the algorithm, because I had like 8 followers, and TikTok works in a way that it's going to put your video, I don't know, in front of 150 people, and then it's going to use this data, and if you're interesting, it's going to put your videos to more people. But if it's don't have too much reaction to it, then nothing. And it's just so funny that with 8 followers you can have easily 500 views or 400 views like I had, and I did like nothing. I don't have following, so that's why TikTok has a bigger chance, like it's a bit like gambling, that you can become big.
I think that's
with your music.
Why people love it so much, because the way that the algorithms are designed through Instagram and Facebook, it can make you feel like you don't have any chance.
Yeah.
And the biggest draw that I've seen time and time again with TikTok, and why I've heard so many people go into TikTok, is because it makes them feel like they have a chance. Like there's so many stories of people blowing up on it. I know there's like
another aspect of it. Like Instagram is much more about lifestyle. Only the how you call it, like, I don't want to be I don't know, vulgar, but it's all about boots and S's and etc. So it's on TikTok, if you have talent, then you have a chance to become big with it. On Instagram, there's no chance, because Instagram is not for that. I've made, I don't know, hundreds of stories with my beatboxing on Instagram, and I don't know, I don't have 6 packs, so nobody cared about it. But on TikTok, I have much bigger chance. Like I could say, really good example of there's this beatbox group called Barnabbe. They are really good, one of the best in the world, and they had a small fan base, of course, mostly beatboxers. But the interesting stuff is they had around, I don't know, 200k followers, and they started to make TikTok videos just for fun. And I think in less than 8 months, they reached over 1 million followers on Instagram and maybe 3 million on TikTok.
Wow.
So you have much more like reach with TikTok if you are a musician or if you have any talent.
Yeah, this is a really big subject on its own, because there's some that I agree with and there's some that I don't about what you guys said, because to be honest, I just never seen someone being consistent for a really long time, creating quality content and not getting a decent following after a while. Of course, you have to please the algorithm.
I think it's the nature of chasing the money and the people and the reach.
So I mean, I just don't think that it's necessarily about what is your platform, because there's a massive audience on each platform. I think it's about how do you reach that audience, and the way to reach that audience will highly be dependent on the algorithm, right? So if it's highly dependent on the algorithm, then whatever platform you use, you have to rely on that. So if Instagram likes it where you put out a post a day and 5 stories a day, and you actually want to become big doing Instagram, then you have to please the algorithm consistently. Because just because like a day or 2 or 3, even if you create amazing quality content, it doesn't really matter, because the way to get in is to actually please the algorithm. Yeah. So that's where I seen it. I seen guys from nothing becoming like this massive thing just because they collaborate. Most social media platforms love collaboration, including TikTok actually. And they are super consistent, like, and not for a week or 2, because what I see most of the time, and that's where I struggle as well, and I feel most people that actually want to play the social media game well, where they struggle the most, and where I struggle the most as well, is that I can be consistent for about a week or 2. But how do you keep up consistency for like a year or 2 years? Because think about it, like if you would open a cafe, you would need to be open for a year or 2 before you could say whether it could work or not. So it's really hard, and nowadays people, I feel like they don't necessarily put in that much effort, but the ones that do, they make it big. And I saw that on YouTube all over again, like I don't know how many times, where people are just, no matter whether they have following or not, just keep doing it consistently. But then because Peter McKinnon made 1 million followers in a year, then everyone thinks all of a sudden that that's the norm. I'm like, that's really not the norm. Like, that was really outstanding. And that's really not so common that would happen.
I have a question for you both. Just, I'm curious your opinions on it. Especially considering the current state of the world right now with the pandemic and everything. Do you guys think, because you can't do live shows right now, that social media is the only way to have any sort of career in music, to have any sort of success in music? Like, you have to be playing the social media game in order to have any success? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think, and it's just my opinion, that you have so much bigger chance with social media right now if you're not well known already. So the main reason I talked about TikTok, I think making quality is a decision, whether you use Instagram, whether you use YouTube, or etc., or TikTok. But most young people, and I feel old now, but most teenagers
I'm 25.
don't even download Facebook or Instagram. They are only using TikToks, and we should follow up with this trend, because if not, I think these social medias, in a way we knew it before, going to disappear, and mainly we'll focus on businesses. And you could use TikTok as, just think about it, what I said, the example of Barry One, that you could just use it to reach more people and grab them to your own platform you like, where you want to show maybe more quality stuff. And that's it. I don't know, that was my opinion about it. And I don't think it's evil to maybe sacrifice some of your, I don't know, sacrifice something for the algorithm. It's for the like it's for the better cause, or the big, or high
for a bigger cause.
Yeah, for the bigger cause.
For a higher purpose.
Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah, that's
more glorious.
But what's your opinion?
Well, where it becomes really interesting about this particularly is that algorithms change all the time. So every single social media platform always starts out as really consumer friendly, but then eventually Instagram started out like that. That's why people went over it and they loved it. It was amazing. I still love it. Many young people still love it. Yeah, of course, like the even younger generation that are now in high school and younger even, they probably use TikTok, or whoever, like maybe they use even a newer thing that we don't even know about yet because we're just not in those circles. But the point is that the social media the social media game is always changing, even within a platform. So Instagram changed their algorithm a whole lot since the beginning. So I think it's a good promotional tool and a good tool to monetize your music or whatever you might do, but let's focus on music. It's an amazing way to get reach and to monetize. It's really good for that. Is that the only way to make a living? No, like there are a lot of musicians that are making money licensing music to YouTubers, to movies, to whatever. Or actually, if you start to look at Spotify as a social media platform, because it actually was intended to be like that, they also have an algorithm and they also have preferences, like who are the artists that they like to put out to playlists that they like to push and all that. But the whole point is that there are other ways to do it, but social media is the place where you meet your audience. So if you want to make money monetizing your image or your music as people listening to it, you kind of have to have it to an extent. I'm not saying that you have to have it like super deep diving and like you have to be exactly like an influencer pushing out that much content, because then will you be able to focus on creating actually quality music? So it's a really hard question, because you can see all around this, like you can see all these different kind of musicians making money on a bunch of different ways. If you want to make money from merchandise, from being able to sell physical products and stuff, probably you will need social media, because social media is the best marketing tool. You can, like, there are still companies that are market without social media, but they spend a lot of money reaching not that many people. While on social media, you can spend virtually no money just being super consistent. I mean, you have to, like, if you're a bigger company or even a small company, if you want to be really consistent, probably you would want to hire people that provide some sort of services for you where they actually take care of your social media, because it's really hard. Like that's why creating content is a full-time job. Content creators are full-time workers that are working on creating content, and that's why they can push out like a video a day or 2-3 videos a week, because it's a lot of work. So yeah, there are ways to make a living. That's why a lot of the times they say that social media is a tool to get emails, and then try to get people's emails. But then again, like, of course, young people, they probably don't even use emails anymore, because why? Like no real need for that up until the point where you have to take a job.
They need email to make registration on some websites.
So yeah, of course, like you can have an email and then just update the people that are following you. But basically every single way how you as a musician can make money except licensing is pretty much connected to social media. And a lot of supervisors are licensing music because they heard it on music supervisors are licensing music to movies and stuff because they heard it on TikTok. And because of that, they will license it into their project, or because they saw this video on Instagram or Facebook or whichever. Many times, like, you can watch a bunch of videos on different supervisors where they find their music and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, like, somewhat to some degree, you need to be connected to social media. Now, I'm not saying that you always have to transfer to the newest thing that's out there. No, you can stick to one thing, I believe. So I believe if someone starts out now and they say that, okay, I want to play the Facebook game well, I think that they can make bank with that easily, because there are still so many people, even young people around the world, that are using Facebook, like a lot. And because Facebook advertisement tools that are like built into the Facebook business as a whole are the best, and that's how you distribute a lot of advertisement to Instagram and to Facebook. And there are tons and tons and tons of musicians that make full-time living streaming their music by advertising it with Facebook, like doing advertisement campaigns and all that stuff. They spend like Yeah.
Now I kind of want to clap again.
Don't be jealous of my claps.
Okay. Anyways, so we left off of Barna saying you don't have to play the social media game, but it's really stinking helpful if you do.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And
That's what we say.
And you
I
really
would
lower
totally
your
agree
chances.
with that. So I have kind of a follow-up question to that. So you both have said that social media is really important, that even when live concerts do come back, it's going to look different, but it's also going to take some time for them to gain momentum because, you know, just like you were referencing with travel, there can be people who, as soon as the borders open back up, they're like, shoot, I'm going right now.
Yeah.
And you just go right away. You try and travel as much as you can. But then there's also going to be people who are completely full of hesitation and completely like worried, you know, we might catch this virus even though we have vaccines and stuff like that. So there's going to be there's going to be polar opposites in here.
Yeah, I think some people are going to be afraid if there's too much rush in traveling.
Yeah.
Then it's going to restart, like a factory reset on COVID, and then restart everything, even if it says just only one variant, which still can survive, or I don't know.
Well, so in light of all of this, though, with the uncertainty of future of concerts / travel, but in this context, concerts and
/ concerts.
Yes, / concerts. Guns N' Roses, people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not copyright because I'm humming it.
Oh, it's right.
Anyways.
Kids, don't drink Monster. This is what it's doing.
You become a monster. Actually, I drink coffee now.
Yeah, now he's drinking coffee. We're fine. We're back
That's
on that
why
good
he's calming down.
Anyways, though, so in light of all that we've already talked about the power of social media, the uncertainty of concerts, but how it's going to eventually come back, but it's going to look completely different. Right now, in both of your opinions, what should musicians be focusing on right now? If they can't go and have these concerts in person, what should they be doing with their time? How can they continue to progress their career if things have been shut down like they are right now?
Right now?
Yeah, like in this moment.
So proud of Szeki. No, just kidding.
in this moment, what should musicians be focusing on so that they can continue on this trajectory of pursuing their dreams in music?
I think they should adapt whatever they find comfortable for them.
Okay, so what are some things that you think they could adapt with?
We already talked about social media a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the options.
Yeah.
There's also an option to self-advertise yourself on streaming or for streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think Instagram is the least good choice on this, but you can do Facebook Live. It's for free, and Facebook really, really push his own content, like lives. So I think it's also good to reach people, but I don't know. My problem is if you are not already at followings, it's so hard because of because you are missing the physical connection. But I don't know. What's your idea about or opinion about how you can adapt to this if you are not popular already, just a tiny bit. If you are, I don't know, if you are or if you have less than 3,000 followers on any social media platform.
Yeah, I completely understand that. But, you know, looking at it from this perspective of there's still new musicians that are wanting to start this. And so I was listening to this podcast talking about how there's going to be a lot of turnover. There's going to be a lot of change in 2021 because you have all of these people who've had careers, have had different things they're doing in their life. And when you experience something as traumatic as a global pandemic and you recognize how short life actually is and how it can be taken away from you like that, there's
that was dead deep.
there's so many people over this next year that are going to be making major life choices. They are saying that there's going to be a lot of things from people either A, just tying the knot and getting married right away, or B, breaking off relationships because they aren't happy with the trajectory it's going in and it's not where they're wanting it. And because they're recognizing now, like, life can be short, they need to make changes. And then to the extent of people are going to be making huge career changes. They're just going to start over in 2021. And so in light of this, I think that there's going to be a rise in a lot of people who are like, wow, life is short. I thought I had more time, but I love music and I've been putting this thing off for a while. Well, this is a year I'm going to want to try and do it because I need to take advantage of the time I have right now. And so with that being said, with the current situation with the pandemic and things being locked down, not being able to do these live concerts, how do you go about that? How do you start to build a following and how do you have success in that, you know?
I just don't want to still focus on social media, but because everybody locked down and they are sitting at home, I haven't checked on any statistics, but I would bet on that people are using 20% more time on social medias than before the pandemic. I'm quite sure about it.
Which already were.
Actually, you could check Netflix statistics also, but like, I don't know. I think that's the best option you can do. Or you can just, I don't know, change your lifestyle a bit. Try to focus in your music, only on the loved or what you love in it to do. Make it just for fun or amuse only yourself and not try to pressurize yourself on getting big. Or you can put in the work on social media. I think that's the two options. You can change your lifestyle for temporary, or put the hard work in social media or streaming services, or I don't know.
What I see with this is that you just sorry
noises.
No, it was a big mosquito.
I hear noises.
Somebody's watching.
So what I see is that what I just said before is that recording artists that majorly making their money from that actually benefited from all this.
Yeah.
Because people are listening to more music than ever. They have more time on their hands because a lot of people, of course not talking about everyone, but a lot of people are jobless, or a lot of people are working home office, which is much more flexible. They can listen to more music. Like, a lot of people do that. So I think the best way of as a musician to invest in yourself is to, especially if you now let me specify. Let's talk about musicians that are making music. So I'm not talking about session musicians that made their living from gigging and recording and all that. Yeah. For them, Fiverr is an amazing option. But then if it gets oversaturated, then it becomes really hard. But so I don't want to talk about Fiverr. That's a whole other topic, and that's a topic with Abby since she became Fiverr Pro.
For real? It happened?
But yeah, it happened.
Yeah, last time we talked about it, she was only in the process, but...
Oh yeah, you definitely... I think I actually already told her to invite you on Fiverr, because she can send like a recommendation to Fiverr Pro.
Oh.
So I already told her to send a recommendation about you and stuff. Anyway, off topic. But let's talk about musicians that are making music, because I feel that they would be the people that would be interested in listening to us anyway. Because they are the ones that are trying to figure out what the heck to do. After me doing like continuous research, because I'm just really interested in these topics, how musicians can make money from their music and all that. What I find is that the musicians that are doing the best are the people that are able to push out the most amount of
content
masters.
What?
Yes, the most amount of master. I'm talking about music. So content supposed to be based around your music if you're a musician, right? Because that's what you do. So you want to promote that. So the most amount of music you can put out, the more online property you have. So you have to think about it this way. It's like, if you would, just say an example, if you would earn, I don't know, like 1% of the fields in the world, then you have a really high chance of a lot of people walking upon that area that you own. So that's similar in the online business. The more you have, the higher the chance you have that something will become big, or that you will be found. The issue so how musicians have to change their perspective. If you've been just a singer, for example, and you didn't produce your own music, get into production. It's cheaper than ever to get into production, learn about it, and start to make your own music. Become more independent. I hate to say that, because I'm a guy who I love to work with others, and I love to have other people joining in and let's do a jam, and then you do concerts and stuff. But that's not the world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to adapt and you actually want to come out with a win after all this, then you want to improve yourself, learn your instrument better, learn a new instrument, and work a lot on actually making music, and try to release as much music as possible. Even that is cheaper than ever. Like, you can go to DistroKid and
it's like $30
pay $20 a year, and then release infinite amount of music. So it just became so accessible and so easy.
Distro.
Yeah, distro.
Wow, new for me, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a distribution service to get your content, or not your content, your masters on services like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, stuff like that. Anyways, that's besides the point.
So that's what I see, is that the people that are pushing out a lot of music, and the perfect example for that are beat makers. Beat makers are putting out a song a day, a beat a day, and they are making bank. Like, they make thousands upon thousands of dollars each month, because they are super consistent, like a beat every day. That's a lot, man. So that's what they do. And for some reason, they make money. They have pretty decent following, many of them, the ones that are putting out that much. So, I'm not saying that you should put out a song a day, because I don't think that as a songwriter that's necessarily possible. It might be, but hard. But try to put out, like, make goals. Put out a song a month. Then
you gotta work
make strict goals for yourself to become more consistent. Get organized. Yeah, there are so many things that you can do even in the midst of this thing to become more organized, to become better at your instrument, start producing, become more independent so you don't have to rely on other people as much. And I'm not saying that I love to rely on other people. That's why in the first place I invited you guys to join me with Barnabbe Productions, because I love to involve people. And that's why Colin and I have songwriting sessions like twice a week now, because I love to involve people, and I love to be involved in other people's lives. But if you want to improve yourself as a musician, then learn to become more independent, and also try to collaborate as much as you can, because that gives you a bigger reach, and that's beneficial for everyone. So just try to keep up connections, try to make new connections, and try to just work hard. Stopping and like blaming the system how it sucks, and blaming COVID why you can't make a living now does not help you or anyone for that matter. So the best thing you can do is just to suck it up and start doing stuff. Like, start working with other people. That's one thing. But there's a whole other side to that. Yeah. Please. Sorry, I want to give.
No, you're good. I think that one thing, and I'm speaking from the perspective of this is helpful for me to hear. One thing that's important to say is utilize the tools that are available. Like, oftentimes, I don't know about you guys, and I don't know about anyone listening to this, but there is so much out there. Yet sometimes, for me at least, it feels overwhelming. And so you don't know exactly where to even start. And so that's where, like you're saying, start small and build your way up.
Yeah.
So if it's as simple as like, you know, work on watching like 30 minutes to an hour of production tutorials on YouTube, and then you start out with that, and then you mess around with your DAW afterwards, or decide like what you and I do, where we meet twice a week in songwriting sessions. Find someone that you can work with, but it's really important to start working on something small, starting out with, like you'd suggested, releasing once a month, and then building your way up from there, than to get overwhelmed by all that's out there. Yes, social media is important. Yes, all this other stuff is important, but if you don't start, it's not going to matter. And I really like what you said about don't blame the situation for where you're at. Adapt to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I said, like, I think in this particular situation, or actually even without the pandemic, it's true in every scenario, that you need to focus now much more on find joy in your music or your production. And because if you find joy, it can help make you more stuff or be more efficient. But if you pressure yourself only making content, masters, beats, blah blah blah, that's maybe make more harm than good for you. So
I totally agree with that. It's really important to, in this, especially right now, as people are really contemplating what's important to them, to figure out why they're making this stuff, because you are going to have that bitterness inside of you. You're going to have that bitterness in your heart of the situation and things, like saying stuff like the system is rigged. Why is it that X, Y, and Z got lucky on TikTok and their song blew up, but mine didn't?
It's easy to sink in these problems, like feeling... the pandemic is a really good excuse for, I don't want to say weak people, or I don't know, for people who look for an excuse.
People that love to pity themselves.
Yeah, so it's the perfect excuse to not do something, but actually they should start seeing that's actually an opportunity to start something.
And
or I know it was so wise, but
no, like,
but I think that's the good mindset to start it. That's why we started the podcast again. That's why I want to revive some stuff with Colin and you, and
I think that's really important, though. Like, your approach to finding why you do this stuff, what's important to you. You aren't just doing that by yourself. You know, we talked a lot about missing the chemistry, missing the community within live music, within playing with other musicians. You can still find that. You can still connect with other musicians, other creatives. It just looks different. And so it's important to, like, in this time especially, you just need to be bold. You need to, like, reach out to that person on Instagram. Connect with that friend that has mentioned occasionally they will, like, make a beat in their bedroom. You know, like, I think the biggest issue right now and where people get hung up is just starting. And
I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for me, I know the way that I work is it's really helpful for me to have people to connect with and work with, even if you aren't physically working with someone. You know, if your biggest challenge is getting started, then call your mom up, call your dad and say, hey, I want to write a new song every week, or fill in the blank, you know? Can you hold me accountable to fulfilling this one goal of writing this song or connecting to this person? Like, I want to collaborate with 4 different producers or 4 different songwriters or whatever in this time period. Mom, Dad, can you make sure that I do that? Like, can you hold me accountable to that? I think that with the isolation that has come from this pandemic, it's all the more important to be bold in these decisions, to find why you're doing this, and then have people there to help you along the way.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think the people that were resourceful before the pandemic remained resourceful. And I think people that are resourceful, they enjoy figuring out and finding new ways to interact and to work and to do stuff. Mm-hmm. So in that matter of how people react to things, I really don't think that the world changed. I think reactive people that just are like, this sucks, whatever, they react no matter what happens the same way. Mm-hmm. And the people that are resourceful and they try to find opportunities everywhere, they find opportunities. It might not work out, and of course, like that can be really discouraging, but again, like, life is a marathon. You live for whoever knows how many years. Might not, like, you might live a short life, whatever, but in good case scenario, you live a long life, and you really just try to survive. So why would you spend your energy on just like being all whiny about why the world sucks instead of focusing on, okay, what can I do? The world sucks.
Right.
What can I do? Like,
that's the point where mindset is going to win the game, and not not the conditions. Or
exactly.
excuses.
So if you're a musician and listening or watching this, and you're just looking for, what do I do? Start writing music. Make a goal, like write a song every other day. Just make goals and hyper focus on them. Most social media influencers, the way they became influencers wasn't that they focused on everything. They became social media influencers because they hyper focused on one thing, and they became really consistent and really good at what they do. And that's why they became a big thing. They became a good entertainer or a good musician or producer, whatever. So if you're a musician, and depending on what you do, if you're a singer-songwriter, start to do Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or both at the same time, because why not? You can do that if you have 2 devices. Just start to do that. Like, you can still do shows. You can still do that. You can put a PayPal link in your description, and then people can tip you as they listen to you. Just do gigs. Like, there was this girl way before the pandemic in Nashville. I don't know what her name is because I don't remember, but way before the pandemic, she made bank by doing Facebook Live. Just like people tipping her, and then she had merchandise, people bought that. Then people started to invite her to their weddings and stuff, and then she made thousands upon thousands of dollars each event, traveling the whole country of the United States, doing Facebook Lives. Like, and this was way before the pandemic, like a year or 2 before the pandemic. So just do what you're good at. If you're a producer and you make beats, keep doing what you do. If you don't release music, then release music. Like, how do you expect people finding you if you don't have anything up? So it's just like, try to hyper focus on one thing. If you're a photographer, then start to shoot photos as much as you can. And if you're restricted, then find opportunity in restriction, because that's what you need to do no matter what, whether there's a pandemic or not. There are always restrictions. And I'm guilty of this myself, where I'm like, oh, if I would just have this, or if I would just have that. Charlie Puth started out recording himself on his phone, putting up YouTube videos.
Silly.
Recording covers and
videos,
stuff.
Actually.
You know, I think that...
Yeah, but that's how he started out. And then he, like, do what you are good at and share it with the world. And you will, if you are consistent with it, and no pressure, like, just have fun. Like, I'm not saying that you should, like, force yourself. Of course, like, at some point, in order to be consistent, but that's true about any kind of business. So if you want to make money from music, you have to become consistent. to become consistent, sometimes you have to do it even if you don't want to. You have to push through. We just had this conversation with Colin that is like, this year was a massive change to him, or like the ending of last year of like, I'm just gonna write a song, at least one song a week, because I know that it can't depend on whether I'm in the mood or not, because then I will never write a song. So just practicing it's like going to the gym. Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm not in the mood, so I'm not going to the gym. Well, then you won't accomplish the goals that you have. You won't have that six pack.
I
You
feel
won't
that now.
have that stamina.
I wasn't in the gym in the last 1 year.
no, like,
And I was
No,
like,
I'm just saying whatever goals you set.
because of the pandemic.
yeah.
I don't
So-
have to go.
I think that's important to talk about. Like, in our previous conversation, that the one thing that I believe you're referencing that I had learned over this last year is you don't wait for inspiration. Just start creating, and then the inspiration will come.
Yes.
And if you're constantly waiting for inspiration, then you are going to be disappointed every single time. And that's honestly
Yes.
that is not a healthy mindset to have, because you aren't going to reach these goals, and then you're going to get disappointed, and then you're going to get discouraged, and then you're going to start questioning if you made the right choice, if you actually had the right idea with all of this. And you look at people, you'd reference Charlie Puth, you look at all these other very successful musicians. Yes, they do have inspiration, and you may look at it and be like, how does this person have inspiration every single day, all day long? It's a muscle. You exercise that muscle. Yeah, it's going to hurt sometimes, just like going in the gym. You're going to leave feeling sore, but you're not going to make that progress if you don't work at it, if you don't fight for it. Practice it. Exactly.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, sports are just a really good example, and how you build muscle and everything, and muscle memory and all that. It's such a good example, because that's literally how inspiration is. Like, if you're in a good shape and you already built up that stamina, that muscle memory and everything, your body requires to go to the gym. It doesn't need inspiration to go to the gym, because it's just what it breathes and does. But you need to build that up. Like, if you go to the gym first time, you might not even do anything. Like, I'm in such a bad condition right now physically that probably just going. I mean, come on, look at me. Like, I gain weight.
Thanks for the honesty.
We keep it real at Barnabbe Productions.
That's why do you need beard,
We
man?
keep it at real. Yeah.
Dude, don't rub it in. Like, this is literally all I can grow.
Because you're an Eminem type of man.
I'm an Eminem type
Or Keanu Reeves.
Oh my gosh.
Patchy beard.
Literally, I don't think I've
So-
ever had a meeting with Szeki where he hasn't mentioned Eminem.
I'm sorry,
Because Eminem is
because
great.
I'm a stan. I'm sorry.
You're oh my gosh. Anyways, we got way off topic.
You
What
don't
were
know
you
what
saying?
stan is.
I
Yeah.
do.
So it's like,
Better.
if I would wait for inspiration to go for a jog,
Yeah.
I would never go for a jog.
That's why I
Because
don't go for
I'm
a
in
jog.
a terrible
Because
condition.
jog is lame. You should run, Barna.
No, I understand what you're saying.
You should power walking with pregnant women.
No, it's really important to talk about that. Like, you're never gonna do something.
It's-
if
I
you're
mean, it's so
constantly waiting
cheesy.
for that inspiration to hit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
I have fallen into this trap of thinking I need to be in the right mindset. I need to have the right room. I need to have the right microphone. I need to have the right computer, software, guitar, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Like,
same
all
here.
of this goes, and that's just not the case.
Yeah. Just because I think we are on a loop with this topic, like, if any of you have any idea of a topic, we should continue. Like, we could hang on for a couple of seconds, because
That was 30 minutes.
yeah. Hey, Abby.
Hello.
Hey,
Special
Iggy.
delivery.
Wow.
Hello.
Wow.
The best part of the podcast is this little guy. You get to see him.
I'm out.
Why?
He said he's the best part in the video.
You
No,
can't
I'm
actually get
jealous.
mad at that, though.
Yeah, it's right.
It's
I'm sorry.
Iggy.
I'm just jealous.
Okay.
He's still
Iggy,
waking up.
make us famous, please. No, don't leave.
See
Don't
us,
leave.
dog.
We need cats and babies for fame.
For clout.
Yeah,
We need
they
cats
can
and
hear you.
babies for clout. Okay, yeah, so
We need
think,
cats and babies for views.
I think, so we've already recorded an hour on this topic. Let's just find a way to wrap this up. Like, I think what we should do is just recap everything we've talked about and give, like, some bullet points. And just say it straightforward. Don't talk about every aspect. Just be like, okay, so after everything we've talked about, here are some tangible things that we can do. 1, you can start focusing on consistency with social media presence. 2, and we can organize it however you want, but like just giving like these numbered points to end it, and then just end the podcast because we're over an hour at this point. But do you want to check your phone
To
first?
be honest,
No, because the last footage was 34 minutes,
Okay.
so it can
Okay.
go over 30 minutes.
I mean, literally, the
So-
only thing that I can tell to people
Mhm.
is just start doing it. Like,
Mhm.
there's no reason to pointing it out. And guys, I want you to connect to us. Like, if you have any struggle, you're already doing it, but you're not reaching any success, or
Yeah.
like, just consult us. We want to help you. We want to
Mhm.
be there for you, and we want to see you succeed. Like, whoever is
Exactly.
watching this, I just want you. Write us messages. Like,
Mhm.
there will be probably links, or
especially if
just
you
write to
live
our
in the
Facebook
same
page,
city
whatever.
as Barna or us.
Yeah. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Because I think we really open to do gigs with others. Like,
Yeah. And
I think important there's some decent musicians for sure. And if any of them is going to watch this video, there's Barna. I sent him to the States for you, so
he sacrificed on your behalf.
Yeah,
Take
but
advantage of the
I
opportunities in
sacrificed
front
my
of
best
you.
friend for you, so please.
And here's the thing, like, even if
You are my
not
second
even
best
if not personally,
I have
because
only two.
even if not personally, because let's practice
Yeah.
what we preach.
Absolutely.
Hit us up on Facebook, on whatever. It doesn't matter where you're from. Just write to us, like on our Facebook page, on our
Yeah.
personal. We will.
It'll be linked.
Maybe we can put some links up somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
Just hit us up and ask us, like, send us your social media profile, and we can chat about it, and we can help, and we can even set up a Zoom meeting. It doesn't matter. Like, we want to help you. We are here for you. So just write to us, and we are happy to help. But the first and foremost, most important step to take from your side is to just start doing it. Like, you're a musician, you're a creator, start making music and put it out. If you make music and then you put it in your drawer, never putting it out, you
It's
will
not gonna
never
matter.
be known, or no one will hear your music ever, because you need to put it out in order for people to see. So start. If you don't write enough music, start writing music and start to release. And everything else will follow.
On the side note, I just wanted to mention that it's actually it's really good or nice to any musician to connect with a creative, like for example a video maker, or with I don't know, with a producer, because if you can develop a connection with one of these people, then maybe you can have much more fun, I don't know, making interesting videos with your music. And you can have fun together. Like, I would really love to work with any musicians. They give me content, or as how would you say it, like reference. Yeah. And in return, they got much more decent videos that they could have done by themselves. And it's just an example. So
something that I also want to point out, because I think this really helps, like, supports what you're saying. You don't have to be a master at any of this in order to start. And that's honestly one of the most freeing things for me. When I even first started writing music, there was this like hump I had to get over of like, I'd listen to a song on the radio and then I'd sit down at my guitar and try and write a song, and it was garbage. Like, straight up, I would never want anyone to. I say, like, I would rather you look through the photos and the messages on my phone and the notes on my phone than listening to the voice memos on my phone. That would be so embarrassing. All that to be said, though, that was a little side tangent. Like, it's okay if you don't know these things. It's part of the process, but you're not going to learn those things if you don't take this step, if you don't start. And, you know, like, if your struggle is songwriting, I'd love to songwrite with you. If your struggle is video creation, I know Szeki would love to work with you on that. If your struggle is production, Barna would love to work with you on that. Like we all have different things to offer.
We have really decent and wide variety of skills here.
Also, like,
Yeah.
we're here for you, but it also doesn't just have to be us. Like, just start and then find people that can help support you in this. And if you need a little help along the way, we're here for you. And I know so many other people because I've experienced it.
Yeah, actually, I would love to see questions by the people who's watching it. So I'm talking to you right now, not for you, Barna, for the people who's watching it. So
we want you.
So I would love to hear any suggestions on these topics, or if you have questions, or if you have any idea, because I would love to talk anything. If you come up with any idea of topics we should talk about next time. So if you already got through, I don't know if maybe this video is going to be part 1 or part 2. If you already watched more than 1 hour of us boring podcast, then
first of all,
it's a low effort to make or just have a question or make a question. Or ask a question.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not native speaker, but I think you already.
Shami bar.
I think you already guessed. So whatever. So yeah, I would love to have, or I would love to develop connection with people through this broadcast or podcast. Broadcast is just sounds so cool. So whatever.
Anyways,
just do it. Just do it.
Guys, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Seems like Barna wants to say something before we close it out. So Barna.
No, I was
take
just
the floor, sir.
He just wanted the outro. Should I just wrap it up?
Barnabbe Prodcast.
That's it. We're out. Cut.
Game over.
Seriously, guys, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're going to have more of these. So, yeah, if you have things you want us to talk about, please feel free to send us a message. If you have any questions about what we've talked about today, let us know.
Yeah.
If you want to collaborate or whatever, let us know. We're here for you.
And because there's more podcasts to come, follow us. I don't know which social media platform we are going to use, so subscribe or follow us on Facebook. I don't know.
And hit that notification bell.
I should point to in every direction at this point because it's going to be everywhere. But yeah.
It's going to be here in this general direction.
That general area.
So I would love that, but of course it's up to you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So see you.
Yep.
Say goodbye, man.
Bye.
Perfect.
Barnabbe Prodcast.